If you're having any difficulties creating your own layout using Bootstrap, you can always use the template that we have prepared for you. So as you can see, this is the template, the responsive design template in CodePen. It already is set up for mobile device and computer screen. So in fact, if I reduce the size here, you can see that our multi-columns go down to a single column when it gets to the smaller sizes. And all you need to do is plop your content in here, and I will show you how to do that right now. So I'll go to the HTML I prepared earlier. We have headings, we have subheadings, we have images, and we have body text in here. Now, the only CSS I have here currently is to keep the images 100% white, and you'll see why in a minute. So I would take all the CSS you have created, copy that, and then pop it into this file. Now you can delete this CSS. The only purpose of the CSS that's already there between the two comments is to give every column this light teal background, because otherwise when I would show you the template file, it would just be a blank page, and that would be terribly confusing. So you can delete that. I'm going to keep it here simply so you can see where the columns are as we fill them out. The next step is have a look at the layout, the wireframe that you have created for your newsletter. Ideally, you'll want to replicate that rather than just pop information into the template as is. So we can see I've got a row with a column that is the full width. I then have a row with the column that is only part of the width. I've got two columns. I've got a shorter column again, and then I've got one that is the full width. So if we have a look on the template here, we can see that we've got the full column. Down here we've got the shorter column. We've got 3 columns, which I don't need, and we've got 2 columns. So what I'll be wanting to do is duplicating this shorter column, popping it between the header and the 2 columns section, and then deleting the 3 columns so I just have that footer. But it's completely up to you. You can actually just use it as is if you prefer, but of course if you want to use the wireframe you've created, it's a good idea to modify the code so that it reflects your design. So let's go and do this first. So I've got my header row has been identified here. I've got 2 columns, so I want to keep that, and we've got the div that starts it and then the next div. So these divs, this is the container that contains the whole thing, and if I click in there we can see the matching end div. And this is very much like those Russian dolls where they're nested inside each other. So we've got the row and then we've got the column inside it. So I have to look not just at the container, the row and the column. I have to see where they end as well and make sure that I'm not accidentally deleting those. So the header I'm keeping as is. I want to keep the 2 columns, that's good, but I need to go and find my single column. So this is 1 column, 2 columns. Here we go. This is the single column here. So I'm just going to, I'll select the comment as well, just so that I've got 1 column there. And I have to go opening div row, div for the column, end div for the column, end div for the row, and this will be this entire section here. So I'm just going to do Control X because I'm on a PC. If you're on a Mac, of course, it will be Command X. And if I go up here, just above where we've got the 2 columns, I want to paste this in here. And if this works, there we go. So we've got that there. Oops, I should have left it there. I need a, hang on, if I get my design here, we actually want a second one there, so I shouldn't have deleted it. That was a silly thing to do. So all I'll do is I'll go back to where it was. So after the 2 columns, so where are we? So we've got 2 columns, and remember we've got our row div, column div. So then if I get to the matching end row, because remember we've got 2 columns Here we go, I'll paste it in here as well. Okay, so what I can do is just delete this section with the 3 columns entirely, or I could just pop photos in there decoratively, but I am going to delete those. So where I have 3 columns, so remember I've put comments here at the start of each section. So if you are copying and pasting or cutting and pasting a section, don't forget the comment, because that'll indicate what's coming next. We've got the row here. We've got a column, and we'll have 3 of these. Second column, third column. This ends that third column. This ends the row. So we can see all of this belongs together, and I can just hit delete. And if I save this, there we go. This is the same layout that we're looking at here. So now I can just put my content in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my heading and pop it in the top there. So we have that here, H1 website title. So I'm just going to copy that. Now you can cut it or copy it, it's up to you. Cutting can sometimes help you know what you have done and what you haven't done, because it's no longer in the original file, but I'm just copying it. Now if you have a look through here, I'll just zoom in so you can see it a bit better. Where we have, so we've got header, then we start the row, start the column, and then I've got a comment here that says replace this comment with header content. So all I do is select that, and I paste my website title there. So if I save that, we can see that the website title has been popped in there. Fantastic. So next I want the material that will go in my single column. So if I look over here, there we go. I will just copy that now and go back here, and I'll just go down to the next section, so row, and then we've got our column, and I will just select that comment. Oops, oh, it's not letting me paste. What's going on? I'll try this again. Copy and paste. There we go. Worked a second time round is the charm. Okay, now you might think, what's going on here? It's cut off my content, and that's because I've set a height in here, and this is why we're going to have to be deleting this comment, this content. I'm just going to set min height now, so that way we'll be able to see all of it. There we go. Okay, but you don't have to do this, remember, because you can just delete all of this from the start. The only reason I'm doing it is so that you can see the columns as I'm filling them. We are going to delete them later. So now we're down to the 2 columns. Let's have a look at my original design. I want an image, and then I want text, and then in the second column I want an image, and then I want text. So let's go and do that now. Back over here, so I've got my image, I've got the subheading, I've got a sub-subheading, and then I've got the paragraph text. So I select all of that, Control C to copy, or Command C on a Mac, and then where I've got my 2 columns, I have a comment here, replace this comment with row 1, column 1 content. So let's just pop that in there, and I'll just hit save, and we'll see what that looks like. There we go, coming along nicely. Now I will go and get the next lot. So again, we're choosing the image, we're choosing the headings below it, and we're choosing the paragraph. Control C to copy, or Command C, and if I scroll down I see div class col12 col lg6. Replace this comment with row 1, column 2 content. So let's do that. And there we go. So we've got that happening now. Fantastic. Okay, so what do we do next? We go grab the next bit, which is going to be in this section just here. So this is a heading and the paragraph below it. I'll copy that, and scrolling down again, look for these comments. It says replace this comment with, here it is, row 2 content. And of course the row numbers are different now because I've copied and pasted and moved some around, but we know where we need to paste it. Anytime it says replace this content, we replace the content. There we go. So we're getting that content in there. And the last bit is for the footer. I'll just select and copy that. And down here, replace this comment with footer content. There we go. Okay. So it's looking pretty simple, but that's okay. Now I will probably want to get rid of these background colors, and to do that, all I need to do is delete the section where it tells you to delete it. This is just to show the layout. Delete it. Delete this comment and the code above it. So everything here you can delete. And if I save this, we now have a layout. I'll just go to the full page view so that you can see it better. Okay, so this is a multi-column layout, and if I resize this, we can see what it looks like for a mobile device. Now, you should also, of course, have color headings in here. The other video will show you how to do layouts if you want to do it completely from scratch with colored backgrounds. But if you're using the template, keep it simple. You know, all you need to do is put some colored headings in at this point, and that will be fine. Now, aside from adding color to the headings, there's one last thing you may want to do, which is add a little bit more spacing around things, because currently everything is very squished in and difficult to read. So let's go to the editor again. And currently the image has very little padding below it before the headings. So the first thing I will do is I will say margin bottom. And I'll just put 1M. That'll give us a line underneath it, basically, because an M is the line height of the body text, and that's a little bit better. You know, that's not quite as squished. How can we add a bit more spacing everywhere else? Well, I could do it on rows, but if I were to do it on the row, once we went to the mobile view, these two columns would be very squashed together. So what I might do is actually put it on the div. So we know that we've got all this div happening for everything that we are using for layout. So I could actually put div padding top 1M, padding bottom 1M. Now, it really, if you don't have borders and you don't have backgrounds, whether you use padding or margin really doesn't matter that much. But if you do have any colored sections, padding is important because it's within the border. So if you do have a colored background, it means that there's more background. It's not just putting more white space on the outside of it. So this is looking better when it comes to the spacing. That's not too bad at all. Now you can keep playing with that using margin, using padding just to space things out, but provided you've got color headings in here, you've got 400 words of text, you've got 3 images. So do remember, this only has 2 images as I've made it, so you'll need to put another image somewhere. It could be in the background of the heading or something like that. That's fine. Once you've got those images, 400 words of text and color for headings, and the color must meet WCAG requirements, you've got a good little newsletter to submit.